Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Mikhail Peters. As usual, we're going to have some long, random, irrelevant interlude. And I'm going to start off by talking about how I need to get ready. Well, I did get ready, and then I'm going to leave to go to my friend's house, and then I'm going to go to the restaurant. It's really weird. My eyes like perfectly match this shirt, which I got from Hawaii, which has like the Hawaii islands on it. Cool. Okay. So yeah, I went to the restaurant yesterday, and I realized working at the restaurant is more than just about the money. I really like moving around and talking to my coworkers, and now I kind of have this rapport with them, and I've sort of mentally scripted how to talk to them, which is very autistic of me, but for a long time this was something I really struggled with, was like figuring out how to talk to my coworkers. But now I just ask them questions about things that I can remember from months ago, and then they seem to like that. Also, nobody's really seen me in a while because I disappeared to Finland for 2 months to do some of my PhD stuff. And everybody kind of knows I go overseas for school stuff all the time. So that wasn't really weird. Okay, so that was nice. You know, I had a nice time working. Didn't make as much money as I would have liked or as usual, but I had really nice time chatting with everybody. So therefore it was full of intrinsic value, although not necessarily monetary value. Okay, and so then now I'm getting ready to go to my friend's house real quick before I then go to the restaurant, because I'll probably just be there for like a few hours. Yeah, I should probably really hop on that. But anyway, I was going to make some whole video about like people wanting to connect with other people and that being really important. I thought about that before I went to bed last night. But then I woke up and I read the comments on this video. I was surprised, the one from yesterday, about Americans being broken by Finland. And there was one comment I really liked, and I'm actually going to stick it in here. And this is by, shout out to Sampo Lähtenero, because actually this guy's got pretty good comments, because I've read some of the other ones. So shout out to you. You get a personal shout out from me on my channel. But I liked this because even though I've kind of alluded to the answer to this question in other videos, I've never like made a video on it. Okay, so it goes, and here I'll put it somewhere on the screen so you can see it. I wonder how big difference there is in the capital area plus maybe Tampere and Turku versus the smaller areas. Most foreigners are in the capital area and people here are more used to them. Amen. That's true, man. Overall, probably a bit more international mindset, and I could see it being much harder to live in a smaller place. In south near the ocean, it doesn't get quite as cold either. Have you heard expats talk about this? Yes, is the answer. So to that one. And I'm going to share my own experience with this. My door just opened. I think it was the wind. Yeah, it's pretty windy outside. It's beautiful outside. I can't wait to like be in the car and then I'm working outside at the restaurant, although it's freezing. I really highly doubt anybody's going to sit out there. Okay, whatever. Anyway, back to answering the question. Yeah, so obviously I've been to all these places. My friends refer to this as the Holy Trinity of Finland. It's a joke, obviously, but like the point is you need to stay in this region of Helsinki, Turku, and Tampere, because these are the areas where like there's actually existence, right? Like Lappeenranta is depressing and difficult even for some Finnish people. Now, these are also very weird friends. I mean that like in the most endearing way that you could use the word weird possible. In terms of they're more like the expat children, like the ones who grew up. They're like the TCKs that I'm reading about in my book right now, Third Culture Kids. So it's like they grew up like between cultures, like they were in all different countries growing up. So it's like, it's kind of like, duh, they grew up with a lot more stimulation. There was another comment in here talking about how your brain is basically going to go haywire because Americans are so used to stimulation, then all of a sudden you're like alone with your thoughts, and it's weird. Like, I'll tell you, it is still weird when I leave the house. It doesn't even matter where I am. I was in Tampere one time doing this, like leaving my friend's house, like Hervanta, like I was over there, and it's like, I don't remember what hour it was, but I had to go take the train, and it was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 a.m. on a Saturday, and it's like, I didn't see another car until I saw the bus, and it was just quiet, and it's like, it almost feels like a setting for like a serial killer movie or something. Not that I watch those, but you know, supposedly that's how those go. You're just like, there's no stimulus, there's nothing around, and it's like kind of scary and weird, and you're like, what, like, am I even on planet Earth right now? Like, I don't know how else to explain it. But anyway, so Yes, these areas of Tampere, Turku, and Helsinki, especially the Helsinki and Greater Helsinki region, that's totally true. This is like where the expats go, and this is kind of the revolving issue, I would say, in Lappeenranta, because a lot of people really do like Lappeenranta, like international students who come there. Like, well, let's go back to my theory that Finland is an autist paradise, and I'm studying at a tech university. They're now having other kinds of like majors come in there. And, you know, the thing that the non-autistic people like is probably the fact that there is strong student culture, right? So you can, like, go out and be pretty social, and there is that community, and you can drink and all that. Like, most people who are studying at the university are not going to be into that, like, point blank. They're going to be much more like, let's go play Dungeons and Dragons alone. Like, not alone, but, you know, with 10 people in a kitchen. That's more like what my NASA friends would do, and that's... Okay, I've never seen anybody in Lappeenranta play Dungeons and Dragons. I'm just trying to make an analogy here. So... my point is, putting a tech university in the middle of the woods where there's not a lot going on is not actually counterintuitive. Like, a lot of people really like it and would love to stay in Lappeenranta because the nature is amazing. There are, like, enough people there. Medium true. It depends on who you are. And... like, it's beautiful, like, and that's the thing, like, why Lappeenranta has my heart, is because I'm like, it is so beautiful, like, there's one park where I live in New Jersey that was, like, my emotional refuge for a long time. Like, I would go running there all the time, and it was, like, anytime I came back to New Jersey, that was just the thing I wanted to do, but now it's, like, I rather go to Finland and run on the Rantarite, and that is, like, more special to me than anything. So, now I'm getting, like, more personal, but that's kind of also the point of this video, like, how I feel about this stuff versus how I know other people feel. So a lot of people, like, kind of do have this mourning process of, you know, I don't really want to leave Lappeenranta. I've made a lot of really good friends here. I've had a good experience here. Like, it's so beautiful here. I love the nature. And for some people, especially the international student community, it's like they're living outside of their own country, and they're like, it's this whole novel experience, and it's so amazing, and they're meeting so many different people, and the standard of living is super high, which you think that's just amazing to people from a third world country. No, it's amazing to me as an American, where all of our houses are, like, decrepit because nobody has time or money to, like, upkeep all of them. Like, no, like, the standard of living in Finland is super high. Like, really, like, your buses, your trains, like, yeah. So, you know, people do want to stay in Lappeenranta. I have, like, converted my mindset to that, but, like, I'm pretty forthcoming about admitting that I wanted to get out of Lappeenranta so badly, like, the first year and a half I was there. And most of it was because I just kept meeting a bunch of crazy people. And then it's like, well, what's wrong with you if you're attracting the crazy people? I'm not trying to say I'm not crazy. I totally think I'm crazy. Like, how else would I have a YouTube channel with 10K subscribers? There's obviously something very appealing about me. Like, I don't think crazy is always a bad thing. You can be crazy in a good way. Like, you can be crazy about, I don't know, something, and then you're really good at it. Like, so, yeah, like, it's just that, like, I had a very, and this was a lot of me learning about, like, my own mental health issues, right? And I noticed that this was something that happened to a lot of other people. And my whole theory with this is there's not enough industry in Lappeenranta. I also have to keep in mind, like, the way that my brain works and my ability to, like, never be bored, even, like, by myself. I may feel lonely, right? But that's a separate issue. But, like, boredom, like, I don't understand this feeling, like, at all. The only time I could maybe feel bored is, like, if I was trapped in a room and I, like, didn't have a book or something to, like, keep my attention, then I would start to feel bored. But, like, when I'm in my room and I have my books and I have my things and I can clean and I can do this and that, like, I don't understand this concept. So I think the boredom thing was the thing that happened a lot, and then people would really, like, I have had this feeling my entire life, like, people... I'm trying to think of how to even phrase this. It's not like, I want to say people have more time than me, but that's not really what I mean. It's just that people structure their time a lot more differently than me. And I just take on so many things at once that, like, this idea of feeling like I have time that I want to give more to other people, it's always felt like a very lopsided equation. So this was sort of the really big issue I had in Lappeenranta, was, like, making friends who wanted, like, this level of engagement where I'm wanting to keep it down here. And so I would say that was kind of a struggle. And there is a part of me that, like, even though in some ways it's like I developed really close, good friendships because of meeting here, let's say, it's something I have a lot of apprehension with returning to, especially because I haven't really, like, stayed friends or stayed connected with a lot of those people. I found that if you kind of keep it very baseline low, but over a long period of time, like, it's much easier to maintain those rather than, like, let's kick it up here and then it just, like, breaks and then it explodes. Yeah. So like now when I go back, I'm a lot more like conservative with who I'm willing to give my time to. So, and I talk about this a lot, like just from the Lappeenranta perspective. Now, the thing is with living in Helsinki, like let's say we put somebody like me in Helsinki, I would have a much easier time with this because, the pace of life in Helsinki is faster and it's not expected you're going to be available all the time. Like you are going to be going here and going there. There's simply more to do. I think the issue with Lappeenranta is there is nothing to do. And this is the thing for me. There's not nothing to do, right? Like there is something to do. Okay, so another thing, because somebody did write in the comments, like part of cultural integration is that you need to like also learn the language. So like, when you become a Fulbrighter, you have to make an application and make a like statement for you coming there and like what you're going to do. And I talked about like being engaged in religious activities, and I did all my religious activities in Russian, which was incredibly helpful for my Russian due to the fact that it was the first time I was ever around like legit Russian speakers, and they weren't trying to speak to me in English because quite frankly they couldn't. Like these were people who were coming as refugees to Russia, and they just could not speak English. I would be afraid that if I was in Helsinki, this would not be the story, and I know it's not because I like know some of these people in Helsinki too, and it was just very beneficial for me in that way. It was just the issue was it took me like it was proximity wise not super close, so my backup option was to like try to do some of my religious stuff in Finnish, which I never really like got around to because it was like it required more time and effort, and my time and effort was spent on easily mitigating my loneliness by just, as I mentioned yesterday, like walking down the street and going and talking to people at the university, versus, like I think I'm like, oh, well, if I had a car, I could have been more involved in like actual local culture and like, engaging in this way. And it's like, I still did try to do some of that. It just wasn't at the volume at which I feel like I would have needed to like have more of that actual Finnish integration. So there is a very big like risk, I guess, that you run being a foreign person in Finland is your friend circle is naturally going to devolve to exclusively other international people or these third culture Finnish kids who like they're Finnish, but they're really not Finnish because they didn't grow up in Finland and then they just ended up back in Finland for college or university. Sorry, we call it college in the US and now I'm back here. I'm like getting it confused. So other things with trying to speak English to not Americans. Okay, so yeah, like I guess I kind of saw Lappeenranta as an opportunity to be able to become more involved in Finnish culture, like from a linguistic standpoint and maybe even from a cultural standpoint, because you're not in a capital region where, the culture does tend to be a bit like mixed. Granted, there are more opportunities in bigger cities. It's just, I always have felt pretty like I've had enough opportunities. I don't know, like I'm competitive, but I'm not like the most competitive person. So I'm not like trying to go for like the best job I can find at like whatever these big companies are that are based in Helsinki. I know that's kind of like what you go for, like transferring to Aalto. That's like a big thing to do too. Like, I don't know. Like I got to a point where I was like happy enough. Like, and again, that was not the first year and a half, I think, because I had so many issues with friends because it was during COVID. So I had like 2 friends. Like the one friend was my roommate, and then that really did not work out as a friendship. And then the other one, it was just like too much involvement in my life. I don't even know what else to say about that. It was like a overly codependent thing. And then it just like, she got upset with me for a reason that I can't even pretend to understand, even retrospectively, because I was never really told what happened, and then she just stopped talking to me. That was traumatic. There's actually like pretty much the most traumatic thing that happened to me in my life was just like having people who I thought were my best friends just stop talking to me. And I thought it was just me, but like no, apparently that'd be traumatic to anybody. So you have to keep in mind that happened to me in Lappeenranta. That was like one thing where I'm like, ew, I don't want this happening to me again. And I don't want my roommate up my butt all the time. So like, no, I don't want to be here. Whereas if you're in Helsinki, like leaving the house frequently and not coming back until 11 o'clock at night is probably normal. But in Lappeenranta, that's not normal because how could you possibly have so many things to do because there's nothing to do here? So again, there's like too much of an assumption that like your time is not valuable. I think that's the thing that kind of really bothers me about like being somewhere smaller. Because it's like not true. Like this is not how my brain works. Like, and that's the thing. And I used to say this when I go to Kyrgyzstan because I felt like the same way in Kyrgyzstan I felt here because I was doing a million things over there too. And I was like, you can take the American out of America, but no, hold on. Yes, you can take the American out of America, but you can't take the American out of the American, essentially. Like, you can't make me stop being, like, doing 500 things and feeling all stressed out all the time just because I left America, right? And then you're kind of like stuck in this, like, you're, you know, everybody around you is like not acting that way, and then you're like, what's going on? And it is disorienting, I guess, is the best way to put it. So my first year, I had like these really super codependent relationships, and then I was kind of like, ew, I don't like this. And then I tried making other friends, but that was like really kind of an issue in February. I'd say by the time it was March, I made like a few more friends to the point where I actually felt pretty content with the fact that I had a friend group of about 10 people, but it took me a year and a half to get to that point. And so then by the time I left Finland in September, it was like I was literally mourning my existence, because it was like finally I had created my life in this place that I wanted, but it had taken me so long. Like, you don't even understand. It was like I just stopped showing up to things. I was a hermit. I was hiding in my room for like the semester after this weird friend breakup. I was like paranoid that like that was going to happen to me again. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, and I know this is like, oh, that's sad. Like, yeah, whatever. Life is sad. I don't know what to say. And I was just like, I just want to get out of here. I just want to go to Helsinki. I just want to go to Helsinki for the spring. And, you know, I wanted to run away. Like, I've kind of done my whole life when things are annoying me. I'm just like, I'm going to go take an opportunity. Although, granted, that's like, you know, I always kind of go back and forth between, was it really running away, or was it just searching for better opportunities? Because like naturally that's something you should do when you're like young and academically / success inclined. So it's you know, it's a tough thing. And that's kind of why I'm saying, like, I already like did a lot of those things, right? Like, I won some prestigious scholarships. Even being in Finland was on a prestigious scholarship. Like, I went to you know, I was working at NASA. Like I already did these things in my life. So it's kind of like I'm just getting to a point where I was like, I'm not trying to like go to Alto and like make a start. Okay, I'm trying to make a start now, but that's a separate issue. Like, it was just, to me, I like didn't need those things. I just kind of like, there was a part of me that just wanted to chill a little bit, and I think that's why I like, you know, did participate in drinking more than I normally do in my life. But that's not like really who I am at the core, you know. Like, I don't even do that now just because I got other things going on. But and when I go back there now, no, like I'm working all the time. So I don't know. It's just that, like, in some ways, I guess what I'm trying to say is I could see it being like, oh, there's more things to do. Cool. There's more people to meet. Cool. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't need more stimulation than being in a PhD program and working a job at the same time. And that was something that one of my friends I had made, like, you know, the year before I left. So I've known this guy a couple of years. He's like, he lives in Helsinki now, and he's like, you know, Lappeenranta is a really good place to focus on working. And I was like, nah, he's right. Like, that's totally true. So, you know, that is the thing I like about going back there, is it's kind of like, you know, sometimes I'll go back and I don't even tell anybody I'm back there for like weeks because I'm just trying to grind. And then people are like, oh, you're back. And I'm like, crap. They figured it out. Granted, you know, I do leave the house, but then people see you. It's the problem. I don't know. Or they know because of the YouTube channel. Yeah, it's the other reason. I don't know. So I guess, like, what's my point with this is, like, you know, Helsinki, I don't think it's that aesthetically pleasing. It's like too urban for me. You know, where I live right now, I've lived in this house 20 years. I'm looking at some trees. That's pretty much the same thing I get in Lappeenranta. Turku, I never really liked it. I don't know why. Then they told me there's no snow there in the winter, and I was like, well, what's the point of being in Finland then if there's no snow in the winter? Tampere, I actually like Tampere, and that's probably the only other place I'd want to live besides Lappeenranta. Why do I like Tampere? I've had good experiences there. I feel like every time I go there, I have fun. And I met a lot of the kids from Tampere University. They were all pretty dope. I don't know what else to say about it. Yeah, I don't know. But it is, like, still a city, and it is not, like, as aesthetically pleasing as Lappeenranta, but I just feel like out of all those cities I just listed, for some reason I like it a bit better. I think because it's like a little bit more spread out. Do they have some, well, everywhere in Finland has water, so that's a poor argument. But I mean, I was there also in the summer one time. It was nice. I don't know. It's like a little too far north for me, though. I mean, not that it's that far from Helsinki. I don't know. Like, that's kind of the only one I'm like, okay, you know, I've been there and I could kind of deal with that. But like, if I had to move for work, I'd look for a job in Tampere, not in Helsinki. I don't know. That's just how I feel. Yeah. So, and that's what I say every time. Like, when I'm traveling, I'm always like, could I live here? And then, like, Tampere, I've always thought, like, I could live here. Yeah. I could do it. So, yeah. I don't know. But, yeah. So, again, I think it kind of depends on the person and what they, like, feel. And it's just, my observation has been, as many people as are like, I like Lappeenranta and I don't want to leave. It's like there aren't opportunities there, right? And these are all kids who are coming because they were seeking an opportunity for the most part, right? They're not like me where they're like, lucky to be remote and can kind of do whatever they want. It's not most people. So I'm an exception. So I think I'm like a poor baseline comparison. That's what I'm trying to explain. So I have noticed the kids who come from like very dense places like Pakistan, they're coming from like Islamabad probably. Those kids really don't like Lappeenranta pretty often, and I'm not going to say it's all of them, because a lot of them, just to be and stay in Finland, they like have to like the nature aspect, but a lot of those people will end up moving to Helsinki because they just kind of, I think they feel understimulated, or it's just like too different for them. I don't know, somehow I end up talking to a lot of Pakistani people. I have no idea how. This is like the number one person I become friends with besides a Russian person. I don't know. I think because, like, they're a little bit, like, the ones, it depends on the person, to be honest, but, yeah, I don't know. But then there's a bunch of other random people, too. But, yeah, I don't know. I had one girl recently from Sri Lanka say to me that she feels like in Lappeenranta there's kind of a lot of, like, dysfunction in terms of the international community because people are just, like, trying to survive. And I think in some ways that makes sense, right? Because Finland is pretty expensive. I think that's another thing with Lappeenranta. Like, it's cheaper. Like, and I really wanted to buy an apartment. Like, that was not going to happen in Helsinki. And, like, I knew that. And I didn't want that either. Like, I don't know. The only reason I would, like, kind of want to be in Helsinki is obviously, like, the airport is there. Lappeenranta does have an airport that, like, barely works. I wish that was not the case. Ugh, I kind of really wish I was in Lappeenranta 10 years ago. Like, I was just, I wish I was older and, like, could have been around during different eras, because, like, that would have been one of them. Like, seeing Lappeenranta before all the Russia stuff would have been really cool. Whatever. I don't know. So I hope this answers the question. It's hard because it's like I'm trying to approach it from my own perspective, but also from the perspective of other people who I know and like their sort of preferences. So yeah, I mean, and I still, like, I say this a lot. I'm like, oh, taking a job in Finland, well, I'd take a remote one, but like I'm not moving to Helsinki. Like, I don't want to. So dude, I'm getting too old for this. I don't like all these changes anymore in my life. That's why I'm moving down the street, which that's another thing. I'm so mentally checked out right now because in my mind I was supposed to have moved 10 days ago. All right, that's it. I gotta get ready to go. Till next time, bye.